Classified document, Division 13. Clearance level, Obsidian. File, HK Protocol 001. Date, 15 June 1995. Phenomenon, systematic erasure of individuals from reality. Designation, Hikikomori Protocol, pending formal classification. Threat level, red, escalating. Agents assigned, H. Tanaka, lead, K. Watanabe, liaison, S. Ito, specialist. Summary, anomalous disappearances targeting socially isolated individuals. Victims vanish not only physically but from all records, memories, and evidence of existence. Pattern identified through statistical analysis by Agent Ito. Immediate investigation authorized. Priority, establish containment protocols before phenomenon expands beyond current parameters.
In the basement of a forgotten collection, I found it. A book, unlike any other. Welcome, dear souls, to Tales of the Tattered Book. My name is Balthazar Callis. I am your host, the keeper of this book, bound to it since the night it revealed itself to me. When its pages hunger for voice, this cursed tome opens and chooses how its stories should be told. I can only comply because I am its voice. Tonight, the book has opened again. And as always, I remind you, once a story begins, it must be heard to its end. Are you ready to listen? Tonight, the Tattered Book opens with a question. What happens when someone is so alone that reality forgets they exist? The Japanese have a word for it. Division 13 has a file number. What the book has chosen to reveal is the first of the Division 13 files, classified documents that have found their way into these ancient pages. Tokyo, 1995. 3 government agents hunt a phenomenon that erases people not just from their homes, but from memory itself, from photographs, from records, from reality. Tonight's case, the Hikikomori Protocol. Let the story begins.
Chapter 1. Statistical Anomalies. June 15th, 1995. Tokyo Metropolitan Police Headquarters. Sarah Ito pushed her glasses up her nose and stared at the computer screen, the green phosphorescent text reflecting in her tired eyes. The numbers didn't make sense. They hadn't made sense for 3 weeks now, ever since she'd started digitizing missing persons records for the Tokyo Metropolitan Police as part of her graduate research exchange. 27 cases in 6 months. All males ages 16 to 35, all reported missing from their family residences, all with histories of increasing social withdrawal. But here was the troubling part. According to the database, 14 of them had never existed. "No way," she muttered in English, then caught herself. Her Japanese was decent, good enough for academic work, but when she was frustrated, her mind defaulted to English. She pulled up another file, cross-referencing family registry documents with police reports. Sato, Kenji, age 23, reported missing by his mother on March 3rd. But according to the family registry, Mrs. Sato had only one child, a daughter. Sarah felt that familiar chill that had been haunting her for weeks. She'd seen this pattern before. Database corruption, they called it. Except databases didn't corrupt by themselves.
Still chasing ghosts in the database.
Sarah looked up from the screen to find Detective Watanabe standing at the edge of her workspace, arms crossed, watching her with that expression she'd come to recognize over the past 3 weeks. Half disapproval, half reluctant curiosity.
It's past 9. Even the cleaning staff has gone home. His Japanese was gruff, but she'd learned to hear the concern underneath.
I know, but these files, she said, gesturing at the screen. Something's off with them. Really off.
Watanabe set down the coffee and pulled up a chair. Show me.
Sarah walked him through the discrepancies, watching his expression grow more serious with each inexplicable detail. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment, staring at the data.
How many cases like this have you found?
14 confirmed. Maybe more. Sarah pulled up another window, showing a spreadsheet she'd been building. I ran the searches 3 different ways, checked physical files, even called some of the families. According to every official record, these people never existed. But their families remember them. Their mothers, fathers, siblings, they all remember.
You called the families?
Just a few. I told them I was doing a research survey. Sarah felt heat rise in her cheeks. I know I probably shouldn't have, but I had to know if...
What did they tell you?
Watanabe cut her off, his voice sharp. Sarah froze. In Japan, calling grieving families without authorization wasn't just unprofessional, it was unforgivable. She'd known that. She'd done it anyway. I'm sorry, I know it was wrong, but...
What did they tell you?
He repeated, quieter this time. Not forgiving her, just needing to know. Sarah opened her notebook and started reading from his notes. Mrs. Yamada remembers her son Hiroshi. She can describe his room, his habits, but when I asked her to describe him, Sarah paused, feeling that chill again. She couldn't. Then she just stopped talking and hanged the phone. Watanabe stood, walking to the window that overlooked the gray Tokyo street. Rain streaked the glass, distorting the neon signs below into bleeding colors. Detective? Sarah prompted. Have you seen anything like this before? He was quiet for so long that Sarah thought he hadn't heard her. But she caught his reflection in the glass. He was watching her, not the street. When he finally spoke, his voice was careful, measured.
Why do you think I assigned you to digitize those specific records?
Sarah felt her stomach drop. She'd assumed it was simply routine work and nothing more. But now... You knew, she said slowly. You already knew something was wrong with those files.
3 years ago, I had a case. A young man named Akira Taniguchi, 25 years old, computer programmer. His mother reported him missing after he hadn't left his room for 6 months.
Watanabe turned back to Sarah.
When we went to investigate, there was no room.
What do you mean, no room?
The apartment had 2 bedrooms, according to the lease. But there was only 1 bedroom and a storage closet. No evidence anyone had ever lived there except Mrs. Taniguchi. No clothes, no personal effects, no furniture. And Mrs. Taniguchi...
He paused.
She kept insisting her son was there. She would talk to empty air, leave food outside a door that led to a closet.
Sarah felt her mouth go dry. What happened to her?
Locked in a psychiatric ward in Matsuzawa.
Watanabe's voice was bitter.
Delusional disorder, they said. Grief-induced psychosis from losing a child that never existed. I closed the case. Had to. Filed it under family mental health crisis. But I never forgot it.
The office around them seemed suddenly too quiet. Sarah became aware of the hum of fluorescent lights, the distant sound of traffic, the soft clicking of keyboards from other desks. Normal sounds that somehow felt ominous. Detective Watanabe, she said carefully. What if Mrs. Taniguchi wasn't crazy? What if her son did exist and something made him disappear? Watanabe looked at her for a long moment. Then he sat back down and pulled out his cell phone.
I'm going to make a call,
He said.
There's someone who might be interested in what you found.
The call took less than 5 minutes. Watanabe spoke rapidly, using terms Sarah didn't recognize. Government codes, maybe, or police jargon. When he hung up, his expression had changed. More serious, almost grim.
What I'm about to tell you is classified. Do you understand?
Sarah felt her stomach drop. Yes?
Not here. Come with me.
He led her down the corridor to an empty conference room, checked the hallway both ways before closing the door.
I flagged this to them 3 years ago. They said there wasn't enough. Now there is.
Her mind was racing. Flagged what? To whom? Why were they in an empty conference room with the door closed? She opened her mouth to ask, but Watanabe's expression stopped her.
There are people in our government who investigate cases like this. Unusual cases. Cases that don't fit normal explanations. Someone is coming to speak with us. His name is Tanaka Hiroshi. He's the one I flagged this to 3 years ago.
Sarah caught the edge in his voice. Whatever had happened between them, it wasn't friendly.
He's, how would you say, a specialist.
An hour later, Sarah found herself in a conference room she'd never seen before, 3 floors up from her usual workspace. The room was sterile, windowless, with the kind of acoustic dampening that made even whispers seem loud. Watanabe sat beside her, while across the table, a man in an unremarkable gray suit reviewed her research. Hiroshi Tanaka looked like a salaryman, average height, dark hair cropped short and streaked with gray, wire-rimmed glasses that caught the fluorescent light. The kind of person you'd forget 5 minutes after meeting him. But his eyes behind those glasses were sharp, calculating. And when he spoke, there was an authority in his voice that made Sarah instinctively sit straighter.
Very thorough work, Miss Ito. This is considerably more substantial than what we had before.
Watanabe grunted beside her. Sarah didn't need to look at him to feel the tension.
How long have you two been working on this?
Tanaka asked, his eyes still on the documents. 3 weeks, but I think I missed some earlier ones. If I went back further in the records...
That won't be necessary.
Tanaka closed the folder and looked directly at her.
What you've discovered is part of an ongoing investigation. A very sensitive one.
Sarah glanced at Watanabe, who nodded encouragingly. What kind of investigation?
The kind where people disappear from existence itself.
Tanaka's voice was matter-of-fact, as if you were discussing the weather.
We've been tracking this phenomenon for several years now. You've simply given us the first concrete evidence of its scope.
The conference room felt smaller suddenly. Sarah became aware of her own breathing, of the soft hum of ventilation somewhere in the walls. Several years? She managed.
You knew.
Watanabe's voice was flat, hard.
You've known since before I came to you. And you told me there wasn't enough.
Tanaka didn't flinch.
There wasn't. Not then. Patterns without data are just theories. Now we have data.
And how many people disappeared while you waited for data?
Tanaka held his gaze for a moment, then turned back to Sarah.
Our first case was in 1992. A computer programmer named Watanuki Seiji. Brilliant young man, developing some of the early bulletin board systems that would later influence internet culture in Japan.
Tanaka opened a different folder, pulling out a photograph.
His company reported him missing after he failed to show up for work for 2 weeks. When investigators went to his apartment,
He slid the photograph across the table. It showed a small apartment, neat and sparse, with one notable feature: a door that opened onto a blank wall.
the landlord insisted there had never been a second bedroom. Weirdly enough, the latest building plans showed no second bedroom. But Watanuki's parents swore they had visited him there many times, in his room, behind that door.
Sarah stared at the photo. What happened to his parents?
They were found dead 2 weeks later. Double suicide. Left a note saying they couldn't live in a world where their son had never existed.
Tanaka retrieved the photograph, handling it with practiced care.
That's when my department became involved.
Your department? Tanaka and Watanabe exchanged a look, some communication passing between them that Sarah couldn't interpret.
I work for a special task force.
Tanaka said finally.
We investigate cases that threaten national security in unconventional ways. And Ito-san, what you've stumbled onto may be the biggest threat we've ever encountered.
Sarah felt like the room was tilting. I don't understand. These are just missing persons cases. Sad, yes, but how is that a threat to...
Because it's spreading.
Tanaka's voice cut through her protest.
The cases you've documented, they're not isolated incidents. We found similar patterns in Osaka, Nagoya, even rural areas, and it's accelerating.
Watanabe leaned forward.
We need your help. Your computer skills, your analytical mind. You've already done more to understand this phenomenon than our entire task force managed in 3 years.
You want me to join your investigation? Sarah felt a thrill of fear and excitement.
I want you to help us stop it.
Tanaka said quietly.
Before more people disappear. Before more families destroy themselves grieving for children who never existed.
He paused.
Before whatever is causing this decides to expand beyond isolated individuals.
Sarah looked around the windowless room, at these 2 men who had just told her that reality itself was under attack, and made a decision that would change her life forever. Where do we start? End of Chapter 1.